Part two, week 10. Setting it up for a big matchup between the first and second place teams. Balls First and Cadillac Crew.
Could potentially be the first of three matchups for us this year.
Calling your shot.
All right. Well, I'll start with my matchup. For the same reason that I would go Breeze over Herbert, I'm going with Goff over Watson this week because Goff is playing the historically awful Seattle Seahawks, and that is just too tasty of a matchup to ignore. I've been liking the usage and production from Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, but I really need one of them to find the end zone. And I'm really going to have a hard time finding who to play in my flex spot this week. If Drake's out again, it'll probably be Edmonds. But if McCaffrey's out, then is it Davis? I could go Thielen. I could go Fulgham. I could go Montgomery. And I'd be pretty comfortable with any of those. But, we'll see how it goes. The week will change. For Drew, I got come on Jalen Ramsey because I feel like if anybody can run and size up with DK Metcalf at the cornerback position, it's got to be him, right? So I would just put him on DK, so follow this guy around and see how it goes. One thing I'm worried about though is Darius Leonard has been doing Darius Leonard things the past couple of games, and they're playing the Titans, who I've obviously got Henry. Well, they're going to run the ball a lot, and Leonard's going to be there to score a lot. So if Derrick Henry has another 21 for 68, no touchdown game, and Darius Leonard's making 12 of those tackles, I'm going to lose out points big time in that scenario. My bold prediction is that Darius Leonard is Drew's highest scorer this week. But I still think I have enough to get it done with him out, without Mahomes and McCaffrey already. If McCaffrey can't go, then I think I have enough to get it done, even with a couple of moves that he's made. But we'll see. It's close, and I'm just happy to have a 3-game lead at this point.
So I thought that Mike, you're very lucky this week. You have to shine up that horseshoe that's in your behind.
Ride the wave, baby.
I think Drew, on the other hand, has some really tough luck this week. We'll start with what we've been talking about with Ben Roethlisberger all day. I think he's gonna play. That's a hunch, but if he doesn't have Ben, the 1 week he needs him on Mahomes' bye week, that's gonna spell big trouble for him. So it's already lucky that you drew on Mahomes' bye week. And then Christian McCaffrey made his great comeback and then busted up his shoulder. I don't think he's going to play this week. That's why I got a trade offer from Drew today for Swift. That kind of came out of nowhere. And he might have to plug Swift in that spot, which, of course, is a big downgrade. But, yeah, I agree full-heartedly with what you said about Leonard. Leonard is a stud. In the last 2 weeks, 62 points and 87 points, 20 tackles in those 2 games. Leonard, I think you're right, will be the top scorer for Crew, and that's probably what's going to spell his doom. But there's also some interesting crossovers. We talked about the crossover with McCaffrey means you potentially starting Mike Davis, but also he has Drake, and you touched on, that could affect what you do at your flex position. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Mike, I do think you should play Mike Davis because I don't think CMC is going to play. Obviously, if he does, the CMC plays, you can stick with what you got right now. And I agreed with your play of Goff over Watson. Even though Watson's a better player, Goff has a superior matchup. It is tough that you got Kelsey's bye week, but you had so many breaks on the other side with it being Mahomes' bye week for Drew that I don't think it's going to matter that you got to start Everett in there. Cook, Henry, both in tough matchups, but I think they both should be able to find points. Cook's been finding points left and right, 273.5 over the last 2 weeks. It's unheard of. So yeah, you got to go with Mike.
I'll be the dissenting opinion in the room. I like Watson a lot more than Goff. It's funny because Goff and Breeze kind of fall in the same category for me, as I don't think they're very good fantasy quarterbacks. I think this is going to be a low scoring matchup, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit nervous about running backs on Thursday nights. So that's Derrick Henry's in that boat. He played a physical game against the Bears on Sunday and a quick turnaround going to Indy, which is a pretty stout run defense. And then Dalvin Cook has Chicago. So I think your upside's limited, Mike. I think Diggs is probably going to be your highest scorer this week. I like Keenan Allen too. But on the other side, like you guys kind of hinted at before, Jalen Ramsey is probably going to shadow DK or Lockett. Your matchup might come down to who Ramsey covers. If he covers Lockett, then DK is going to blow up and Drew's going to have a nice score. McCaffrey's going to be out from what I can tell. Who knows what's going on with Big Ben? Even if Big Ben plays, I don't have tons of faith in him. Just practice is important. And so I don't think this is going to be a 500 to 490 game. But I could be surprised. You guys have had phenomenal seasons and you have such talented teams. It could go either way. It's a shame that you guys both aren't at full strength for this one. I guess we'll get that in a couple weeks to see some fireworks. But it's really interesting what's going to happen here. So if I had to pick tonight, since McCaffrey's probably out and no Mahomes, I'm leaning towards Mike. And like we kind of talked about in part one, Mike, you're going to find some touchdowns, I think. Whereas I think Caddy's going to struggle a little bit to do that compared to his normal week. So leaning towards balls first to go 10-0. That'd be kind of fun. Get that tattoo.
Yeah.
All right. You want to wrap up that matchup, or anybody else want to say anything, or should we go on to dirty balls?
So the only thing I'll touch on is why I don't agree with what you said on Goff.
Mm-hmm.
A little rebuttal there. I agree with you that Goff is kind of borderline rosterable. Like he's maybe the 15th, 16th best fantasy quarterback. That matchup is just such a strong matchup. It's hard not to take advantage of it.
Although, Cleveland shut down who they play last week, like the Raiders. So Derek Carr, was that 2 weeks ago or last week? I don't even know. Cleveland's not that great either. So just
2 weeks ago, Derek Carr, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Do you see like the pace that the Seahawks are on for total yards? Like the 2011 Packers gave up the most yards in history, which ironically they went 15-1 that year. But the Seahawks are on pace to beat it by over 1,000 yards. Just destroy it. I think another team.
It didn't work out that well for the Packers.
No, they rested Rodgers. Rested Rodgers. Flynn threw 6 touchdowns against the Lions, and yeah.
And then they lost to the Giants in the coldest game in Lambeau Field history in the first playoff game.
That wasn't that game. That was Favre's last game when it was so cold.
Oh, was it the Eagles?
Yeah. No, it was the Giants. They lost to the Giants, but the super cold game you're thinking when Tom Coughlin was red in the face, that was Favre's last game in the NFC Championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the 2-win Dirt Balls against 1-win White Thunder. What's going to happen here? Did you go to sleep? Toilet bowl?
Well, since Mike's asleep, I guess I can start.
You going to talk about the toilet bowl? Go ahead.
The toilet bowl. A couple things here. It's the battle of, I guess it's probably a little hyperbole, but I said terrible quarterbacks. It's barely rosterable quarterbacks. Matt Stafford versus Kirk Cousins. And Stafford coming off a concussion and a limited practice with the COVID exposure, and he can't roll with Matty Ice this week, so he's got to roll with Stafford because Matty Ice is on bye. And then White Thunder on the other side's got Kirk Cousins, who we know all about Kirk Cousins lately, and the tough matchup against the Bears D. He could roll with Burrow, but Burrow's got the tough matchup against Pittsburgh, so I think he's kind of White Thunder screwed either way on that. So this matchup I don't think will be won by the quarterbacks. It could be lost by the quarterbacks. The reason why I'm going to favor Dirt Balls is he's got Alvin Kamara. Of course, we all know Alvin Kamara's a stud. Two things I think are really interesting about Alvin Kamara. The first thing, because he is involved in the run game and the pass game, he's always in the game script. So if it's a blowout, he's running the ball. If they're trailing, he's going to be receiving the ball. So he's always in the game script. And he's the other Mr. Consistent in our league, to go with what we've been talking about with Blake Martinez for weeks. Kamara scored more than 40 points every single game this season. I also like Fournette this week. I think it's been proven that when there's carries available for Tampa Bay moving forward, that the bulk are going to Fournette. So those are the reasons I would favor the dirt balls. The prayer for White Thunder is maybe something can happen with Jamal Williams, but I think he needs to maybe take him out of the roster, make a waiver move for maybe Jordan Howard or for Braden. And he's got 3 guys on buys in his starting roster, unless he's made some changes since I last looked. Looking at that projection, I think that's probably the same. So he needs to pick up some defensive players. And the replacement level guys he's going to get right now, there's nobody that really jumps out. So this I think is the blowout of the week.
Nice. I'm with you. Want to go back to sleep, Mike? You got anything?
I just feel like this is like it would be just poetic justice if this is the week where Nate's guys all snap out, like when he absolutely doesn't need it, when he has nothing to play for, and he's going up against a one-win team, where this is the week. Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah.
600 to 250.
I mean, Kyle doesn't change his lineup until like Saturday night, Sunday morning. He doesn't even scour the waiver wire at this point. He's completely packed it in. Nate's had just awful production from guys that you would normally count on, and just a weird year. So yeah, it's a snoozer.
Well, we've established that Jason Sanders is going to be the Parkey Award winner. So I'm nervous in that sense, but otherwise, yeah. I'll say it again, even though I tried to stop saying it. Yeah, blowout of the week is right here. I agree.
I'm calling it now.
The kicker spot by 30 points. He's still gonna run away.
He's going back-to-back Zendejas.
Back-to-back Zendejas for a fourth. No one even has 3 besides Nate. Kicker domination. No wonder he won't get rid of kickers. All right. Steel reserves against the individual 1. Anybody want?
This is a big matchup.
Gigantic.
I think you should start on your team there, Johnny.
Okay, sure. I'm just kind of going with the theme of quarterbacks I'm nervous about because I own their receivers. Alex Smith hit Terry McLaurin on like a 60-yard touchdown when he came into the game. But I honestly haven't even seen the play, but I'm told that he threw it was a hospital ball. And if anybody doesn't kind of know what that means is Terry McLaurin probably should have been concussed with broken bones after catching it, but somehow he like dipped and dodged his way 70 yards and didn't take a hit. So that's why McLaurin had such a big game last week, because he got a big one from Alex Smith when it was actually a terrible throw that never should have been passed.
You said he had a big one.
Terry McLaurin has a giant one. And then Juju, who's like always questionable with a knee injury. He might not have Big Ben. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Juju has been producing since he landed on my team. I'm nervous that trend is going to stop this week. So that gives me nervousness. Also, right now I have Jonathan Taylor over Zach Moss. Just for the simple fact that projections make the score look good. And I have no idea what to do with that one. Zach Moss is getting touchdowns and getting work and looking pretty good inside the red zone for an offense that's moving the ball. So I'm tempted to put Zach Moss in. I don't know what to do. Again, Eric Ebron in my tight end spot. Is Big Ben going to play? That might be a case where Dobbs might need a security blanket if Big Ben doesn't play, and then he might go to Ebron more. I don't know. That tight end position terrifies me this week because I have Hayden Hurst on bye. I'm happy with my defensive players. They've been hitting their ceiling the last couple of weeks. Looking over at Seth's team, obviously it comes down to Rodgers and Adams. Miles Sanders is back, supposedly going to play. He's questionable, but I think he'll play. That makes a gigantic difference. That gives Seth someone else who can find touchdowns. Adrian Peterson is just a zombie, man. He's not even around anymore, which means he might have a big week just for, to spite me because I said that. I'm leaning towards myself. But I need Kyler Murray to match or outplay Aaron Rodgers, and I need to find a touchdown from my receivers. So there you go. You asked for it. That's my thought on my matchup. Anybody want to say anything, or are we done here?
I want to be the tiebreaker. I want Mike to go.
All right.
Okay. For Seth, I think where you're getting unlucky this week, John, is if you play Seth next week, Rodgers and Adams are playing the Colts, but this week they're playing the Jaguars, and that's brutal.
Yep, they're gonna eat.
Hunter Henry, I just traded him in another league that I'm in, so he's due to blow up.
Good.
So look out for that. And I picked up Eric Ebron instead, so he'll be terrible.
Yep.
So you're welcome for that. But no, I think Seth needs Devontae Parker or Jarvis Landry to get in the end zone. Devontae Parker's, nice player, but hasn't scored a whole lot. Tua may need that big body to just kind of, hey, bail me out of a tough spot kind of guy. Landry's the de facto number one for the Browns. If they get, they got Chubb and Hunt, they can get some play action maybe hit him over the top. For John, for you, Mike Evans, it's just a weird thing what's happening there. Him and Brady have like no chemistry whatsoever. They're not using him in the way that he should be used. Even like Dan Orlowski was talking about how they have him running routes like Gronk used to run in New England, and that's just not like how his archetype is. You know what I mean? He's a big body, keep him moving, don't make him break his feet down to change direction type of runner. You know what I mean? And for you have like the thinnest bench of all time, but thank God that doesn't matter in fantasy football. So you there's really no choice for your lineup this week with the buys you have. That you pretty much have to go with what it is. If Kyler can put up another $120 to try and help with Rodgers and Adams, then I like your chances. But it's going to be close, and yeah, obviously if you're trying to win that division, you need this one pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I got to win out. Yeah.
So which side did you go, Mike?
If I had to pick somebody to win, I guess I guess I'd go Seth, but it's not. It's by the slimmest of margins. I don't feel good about it at all.
All right. Yeah.
Shouldn't.
All right, so you played into my hands there because I wanted to have the tiebreaker on this one. That's what I thought was going to happen. So I'm going to probably just repeat a lot of what's already been said. For John, obviously, I think this week he's going to go as far as I think 2 players. If 2 players can really blow up, that's John's pathway to victory. One is Kyler Murray, which you don't want to bet against Kyler Murray right now. He's number 2 in our league in fantasy scoring. I think he's going to be number 1 after this week because Mahomes is on bye. He should take over that number 1 spot. Last 3 weeks, 329.3 points, an average of 109.8. That is absolutely sick. So it's going to be hard to bet against Kyler Murray. The wild card for Steel Reserves, that second player that I think you're going to need a big game for to get a victory, is J-Rob. The Packers have shown in the past to be leaky in the run defense. I think this is a game where the Packers run up the score, and that's not going to be a factor. But if the Packers don't do that and it ends up being a close game, J-Rob's in the game script. That's John's pathway to victory. On the other side, it all comes down to this Packers-Jaguar matchup. Rodgers and Adams both have been on fire. I'm going to predict Rodgers for 4 touchdowns this week. I'm not sure how many of them go to Adams, but probably at least one. Rodgers had 11 touchdowns last 3 games. Not too shabby on his own accord, averaging 88.15 points over those last 3 games. And then he's got that beautiful advantage of that double dip, having Devontae Adams, who's had 6 touchdowns the last 3 games, averaging 95.2 points per game over that 3-game span. If those 2 guys hit those numbers, if you're getting 90 points apiece from Rodgers and Adams, it's going to be hard to lose. I've been on the other side of that coin recently. And then the other thing that the same guy who played big when I lost to the individual one was Levante David. I know I've been harping on defense all night long. Levante David is ranked number 41 in our league. That would put him ahead of Aaron Jones at 43, Kareem Hunt at 46, and Adam Thielen at 49. So basically, having Levante David is having like a borderline number 1, number 2 running back or wide receiver in your linebacker spot. So I am going to break the tie and, sorry, John, side with the individual one.
Okay, man. People have been doubting me all year. I didn't have a first round pick. I didn't have a second round pick. And here I am.
Well, I didn't have a first round pick either. Well,
that's good. Yeah, but you're out. I'm still in. That's, good. That's okay.
Good job, guys.
I heard there's some.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. These are all based on like stats right now in the league. Kind of give you a good feel to where people are at. So my first one has to do with the league leaders in receiving yards. 3 of the top 4 leaders in receiving yards are on a new team this year. Can you name those 3?
Sure. Receiving yards, new team. Is DeAndre Hopkins one of them?
He is.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
Phill, are you playing too? I got one.
Yeah, both of you guys.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs is also on there.
New team. What you got, Phill?
I got nothing.
It's not so obvious.
Can we
Because I'm thinking the other 2 are Tyreek Hill and DK Metcalf, and they're both on the teams they were on last year.
DK is number 2 in the league, but he is so he's not the other guy. All right, the other guy.
AFC or NFC?
I'm trying. He's NFC.
CD Lamb.
No,
Good question. It's a rookie.
No, it's a veteran. It's only his second team. Let's see. His quarterback is also on a new team this year. They have a new head coach. A lot of changes in that system. NFC South.
Heyo. Tampa?
Nope.
Not Tampa?
Nope. Panthers.
Oh, Robbie Anderson. Come on.
Robbie Anderson.
Come on.
Robbie Anderson is 3rd in the league in receiving yards.
I like how we wait
really?
11:15
Yes, he
p.m.
is.
to do trivia when I'm exhausted. All right.
Mm-hmm. All right. This has
Robbie was the only guy in my brain, but I was like, "There's no way he's in the top 4 in receiving."
This one is a you get it or you don't. It's a you get 2 choices, so it won't be as hard. All right. As far as running backs go, who has more receiving yards? Alvin Kamara, who leads, or the next 2, so number 2 and number 3 in the league. I'm not going to say who they are, but does Alvin Kamara have
I'll go with Kamara.
more receiving yards than the next 2 guys?
Well, yeah, if it's a question like that, it's got to be Kamara.
Yeah, I'm going with Kamara.
It's close, but it is Kamara. Yeah. The two guys that are second and third are Mike Davis and J.D. McKissick.
Those are that would have been a good question too. I did not know those guys. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that.
All right, and since you've been doing apparently a lot of defensive homework, Phill, this is your question here.
Okay.
There's two defensive backs in the top 10 in the league for solo tackles. Name those two DBs.
Poyer.
Yep, he's second in the league.
And it's either going to be Baker or Sorensen. I'm not sure which one. I'll go with Baker.
It's Buda Baker. Yeah, you've been really doing your defensive homework.
Well done. Got any more? Is that it?
That's it. That's all I had this week. I will say between Poyer and Devin White, my two defensive keepers have been absolutely A+. So very happy with those guys.
Sweet.
How much time we got?
We got about 10 minutes.
Okay, well, so I did this whole spread of each position of the highest scoring player versus the 12th highest scoring player. Because theoretically, that's the guys that should be rostered on every team, theoretically. Of course, some teams are fortunate to have multiple top 12 guys on their team.
Replacement value. Yep.
I like it.
So what position do you think has the biggest gap between the highest scorer and the 12th highest scorer?
John. Tight end.
Quarterback.
You're both wrong.
Running back then.
It is running back.
Dalvin Cook really skewed the numbers.
So yeah, Dalvin Cook totally skewed the numbers. He got 620 points.
Yeah.
Number 12 is McKinnon. He's got 311.
Wow.
That's 309 spread. He's got almost double the 12th highest scoring running back.
That was the guy I threw in the trade.
That's funny.
So the second is quarterback. So I've told you who number one is earlier tonight. Who's number one?
Patrick Mahomes.
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. So who's number 12? That's a good guess. Who's number 12?
Number 12. Joe Burrow.
I think he's below 12, actually.
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill's above 12, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, he's good, actually.
Split the difference, and you can figure it out.
I don't know.
Teddy Bridgewater.
All right, nice.
Wow. Okay.
So he's at 511. Mahomes is at 783. So there's a difference of 271. So it's close.
Yeah.
It's close to the running back differential. But that's a little skewed because Mahomes is on bye this week. So if you go to the guy who is the next highest scorer who's had a bye, it's Murray, and drops that difference to 244.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then, so we'll go to the other one that you guessed, and then I think we can be done. So the other one that was guessed was tight end, which I thought was a really good guess. I probably would have been my guess if I hadn't already done this research. So who's number one? This is easy.
Kelsey.
Yeah, of course, it's Travis Kelce.
Good.
He's got 392.25 points. You want to take a guess at number 12?
Jimmy Graham.
He's higher than 12, actually.
Dang.
He's missed some games this year, and is still number 12.
Janu?
Kittle.
No, not Jonah.
Kittle.
No, he's on my team. It's Noah Fant.
All right.
179.25. So that's a 213-point differential.
Yeah, there's a big drop
But
off.
it's blown out of the water because it's Kelce. The second highest scorer, it's the biggest gap between the first highest scorer and second highest scorer.
Yeah, that's.
Who do you think the second highest?
Tight end.
Do you know who's number 2?
Is it still Kittle?
No.
Janu?
No.
Not Andrews. Andrews is at 20.
He was on the waivers a couple weeks ago.
Holy crap.
The number 2 tight end?
Yeah. I'm kicking myself I didn't pick him up.
I got nothing.
Harrison Bryant.
NFC North.
Who?
NFC North.
Oh, NFC North.
Hawkinson?
Yep, TJ Hawkinson.
He's second?
264 points. Yeah, almost 130 points behind Kelsey, but he's second.
I had Kelsey and Hawkinson. Those are my two.
Yeah, he is. He really is.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. Good stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's good stuff, Phil. I like it.
I dig it.
Beautiful.
Stats.
Thanks for having me again, guys.
No problem.
Real quick, thank you, veterans. Happy Veterans Day.
Yes.
Absolutely. I was going to say another thing I read today that I thought was really cool. Josh Allen, apparently his grandma died. But like Bills
cool,
fans.
Why you got to be like that? That's not cool.
No. Bills fans went out and like donated in her behalf like $17 for Josh Allen's number, and they're like up over $300,000 for like and Josh Allen's like, I never want to leave Buffalo, like I want to play here forever. So I thought that was really cool. Bills fans are great. They got
Bills Mafia, man. Bills Mafia.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a Bills bar here in town that I hang out at sometimes, not because it's a Bills bar. But yeah, there was one day, the playoffs last year, I showed up there just because like a place I show up at. You could not find a goddamn parking spot. The place is yeah.
They've always gotten guys from the Packers over the years. They got like Andre Reed years ago, and then or not Andre Reed.
Micah Hyde.
Anyways,
Micah Hyde.
James Lofton. That's what I was thinking of. But Bryce Pop, you remember him? He went to Buffalo and won Defensive Player of the Year. And they got Nick Barnett. They got Nick Barnett, and then they got Micah Hyde. So it's like, but yeah, I can never root against the Bills. So I love those guys.
Same. I consider them a top 5 favorite team. I cheer for them. Yeah. All right, guys, this was fun. Thanks.
Stay happy. Stay healthy.
Good luck,
Love somebody. Love somebody. Stop the count.